Yeah, WTMH Live, WTMH Live, WTMH Live. Can't miss a beat, don't close your eyes. You want the realest of the real, well, here we go. Hip hop and R&B live in stereo. We got the scoop like magic in the house. All the details, yeah, you know what that's about. We got the rumors, we got the facts, we got the city on our back. Now you can't stop that. The freshest content nationally and locally, giving you the real deal as the way it's supposed to be. DJ Quiet Storm and non-stop, got the whole world about to pop. You want drama? That's what we got. All the news you can handle soon as it drops. We on Bounce TV 23, Saturday 7 p.m. I have to say, this the place you go for the info. WTMH Live, Simple.
Taking off on the 1-9, you already know what it is. Fleet DJs in the building, State of Hip Hop guy.
Getting right up.
Good, y'all. You are here. It is the Magnificent 7 Countdown. I am your auntie's favorite DJ. Am I looking in this camera or that camera?
This is the pilot show of the Magnificent 7 Countdown video show. Glad you can join me. Welcome to my living room. And we're going to get things started today.
Here we are. Welcome to another edition of the Magnificent 7 Countdown Show. I'm your auntie's favorite DJ. Lane Love is in the building. And of course, we have another legendary special show. And I emphasize legendary because we have two legends in the building, but we're going to bring up the show right now with just one legend. But I have to bring it up like this. So the year is 2003. And basically, I'm board hopping. I'm an intern. And I'm an intern for a gospel station. So it's a Sunday night. And I'm hearing this music come from like down the street, down the hallway. And I'm like, where is that music coming from? And I'm hearing just like all the classic songs that I grew up with. You know, I'm hearing Run DMC, I'm hearing LL Cool J, I'm hearing, you know, just all the rappers from the 80s, Curtis Blow. And I'm going down the hallway and, you know, my 20-something-year-old self opens up the door and here it is, it's Mixmaster Ice mixing live right in front of me. And so my mouth drops, right? And I'm sitting up there like, so I turn to go to run away because I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm not supposed to be there. And him and Kanata at the time said, no, come on and sit down. And so, you know, they knew I was there to intern or whatever. And so for the next 4 hours, it was just like a hip hop ride. And so from that day, they said, hey man, come back whenever you want to. But I thought they was joking. So I was just like, you know, there's no way they want me on that show. And so about 3 weeks later, you know, Kanata calls me and said, hey, man, I told you can come by anytime you want. And I was like, for real? And from that day forward, I became the third member of the Old School Basement Party. But, you know, from there, man, I mean, you don't know. This is Mixmaster Ice. Go ahead and put the camera on him. You don't know. Even before that, I'll take you back to 1984, where my brother Alfonso would have your posters of your group on the wall. You know what I'm saying? You was in a ninja suit, so we didn't even see your face at that point. So that's crazy, man. So for those who don't know who you are, man, tell the people who you are and where you from.
It's a pleasure to be here. First of all, I'm the legendary Hall of Fame DJ Mixmaster Ice from the group UTFO.
Yeah, man. I mean, and that particular era of music
Yes.
You spawned a whole bunch of people's careers.
Facts.
There's a whole bunch of songs that spawned from that particular song.
Absolutely.
So I can say you kind of like changed the game, because that's when battle rap was already there.
Yeah.
But you really kind of, jump started the whole
Kind of
battle rap
became
thing.
on wax then. Yeah, we back in 1984, we made a song called Roxanne, Roxanne. And to make a long story short, there was a girl in Queens that answered our record, and her name became Roxanne Shante as a result of that, and then her career sparked. And then Marley Marl had several other rappers that was under that same clique, which they called the Juice Crew. You had Big Daddy Kane, Biz Markie, Coogee Rap, Craig G, Master Ace, a few others. But all of that was a spark that came from Shante answering our Roxanne, Roxanne record.
So really, Marley Marl has you guys to thank for what kind of started the career. You know what I'm saying? What kind of kick-started everything for them?
I think that's a fact.
And you always, throughout the years that I've known you, you don't mind giving the history, especially your history of hip-hop. Why is that? Why do you feel like, the youth needs to hear that part of?
It was a time when I was a youth and I was searching for the history, and I started DJing around 1980. I first dibbled and dabbed inside of hip-hop in 79 when I was actually trying to write rhymes. Mm-hmm. So I was writing rhymes and DJing by 1980, buying equipment, records, all that sort of thing. But I was so hungry for the culture to try to learn it and absorb as much of it as I can, because it had already kind of been out in the streets a little bit at the block parties and going through Bronx, going through Uptown Manhattan, coming through Brooklyn. So, I was young at the time, but just that energy and that vibe, I just wanted to absorb as much of it as possible. So when I was young, I was looking for not necessarily guidance, because back then all we really had was tapes and stuff to listen to. It wasn't visual. I was too young to get into the clubs to actually see it up close and personal. So the only thing I could do was study it from listening to mixtapes that had came out and trying to figure out what is it that these guys are doing on these turntables. And as a result of trying to hear and learn, I would sometimes come up with my own stuff. You know what I'm saying? But back to the question, it was a time when I was a youth and I wanted that knowledge and I was hungry for it. So I don't mind trying to share and help the next person that want to come up if they're really truly passionate about it,
Yeah. What was the one thing that you saw that says, I have to be a part of that? Were you at a park jam, or what was the one thing?
You know what? It was my 8th grade graduating class. I went to a private school called Prince of Peace back in Brooklyn. Bushwick, Brooklyn is where the school was at. And at our 8th grade graduation party, they had a DJ. This was my first time being in an atmosphere like that. So I might have been 14 at the time, maybe. So they had a DJ, they had lights, and guys were spinning records, and girls were dancing and stuff, And I'm one of them guys, we up on the, we hard rocks. We just on the walls just chilling. But I'm feeling this energy, and Rapper's Delight was out at the time. So that you was hearing that on the radio. King Tim III by the Fatback Band was playing real heavy in rotation. So rap was starting to get commercialized radio-wise, as opposed to it just being break beats, DJs, and rappers in the parks. Now you're starting to hear it on the radio. So this thing is taking off, and I'm right in the midst of learning and listening to this. So as a result of that, I just wanted to be involved in hip-hop culture. I couldn't break dance. I tried that. That wasn't going to work, right? I ain't coordinated enough for that.
Right.
And I didn't have no money, so I couldn't buy no equipment. So the only thing that was available right off the rip was to write rhymes. Because the DJs was out, the DJs was crowd rocking and, and saying little rhymes. I was like, I think I can do that, you know what I mean? So I had a little rhyme book, writing little rhymes and stuff. And that was my inception into the game. And my first high school that I went to was called John Dewey, school out kind of close to Coney Island in Brooklyn. It's out in that area. But anyway, make a long story short, I was hanging out, and there were some guys that were in the school that were already DJs. I wasn't technically really DJing yet, but they would get together, cut school, and go to Mega Evans Projects and have these DJ ciphers. And I kind of told a little bit of a lie and fronted like I was already DJing in my neighborhood, which I hadn't really started yet. Yeah. But that was to infiltrate and get into the clique. So these guys are a little older than me. So they was like, all right, man, we gonna roll. So I ended up cutting school with them one day, and we all in projects. First time I ever seen anything like this. They had a DJ table in the middle of the room, and each DJ was going around taking turns. So every DJ would get maybe 4 to 8 bars, then the next guy would get on, get 4 to 8 bars. There was a song out called Bounce Rock Skate at the time. And on the break of the song, it goes, get down, boom, 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 boom. So you just keep cutting up that part. So I'm watching these guys get on the turntable and they get down, boom, boom, get down. So I'm at the end of the line. I'm fifth in the line. So I'm trying to learn what each one of these guys is doing so that when I get up there, I don't make a fool of myself.
You gotta learn quick.
So this guy's spinning this back, he's hitting this button. This guy's spinning this back, he's hitting this fader. I'm like, okay, all right. So when it's my turn, to make a long story short, I fumbled and didn't, I didn't have the technique, so I fumbled. Instead of mine's going, get down, I didn't know how to release it probably, so mine's going, get down. Yeah. So, and this is how I end up focusing on the DJing aspect. A very key element of that situation happened to me.
Yeah.
That could have went all bad, and them guys could have been like, get out of here, you frontin', blah, blah, blah. But one of the guys said, he took me under the wing. He was like, hey, don't worry about it, let me show you how to do it. And he took the time to show me. And when he showed me what to do, spin it back here and do this, the touch of that turntable just magnified through me. And I knew that day when I left there, I was going to be a DJ.
Wow.
I didn't know what it was going to take, how I was going to get the money. It was going to be by any means necessary. But I was going to DJ, and I knew it. At that dude, I don't even remember what his name was. I really wish I did. Yeah. But that guy, by showing me what to do and letting me touch those turntables in the proper manner, is the reason that really springed me into becoming a DJ.
You really dropped a jewel right there because the culture in itself, not just DJing, but breaking everything, is so competitive.
Yes.
That we're so quick to be like, oh, you whack. Or
That's
you
right.
This, and the other.
That's right.
But you don't realize if you just take the time for a second.
That's right.
Each one teach one.
Yes.
You don't know you can spawn. You can
absolutely
the next Mixmaster Ice.
Absolutely.
And what I love before we go into a video is I've seen a video of Little John. I've seen a video of DJ Qbert, and they all give you credit for the ka. So, and most DJs who are a fan of yours, Prime, O-Sharp, myself, and many others here in the city, we know you for that particular scratch. That scratch became legendary. How did you come up with that concept?
You know what it is? I was very fortunate. Sometimes it's timing. Sometimes it's who's the first one to bust something out. But that sound, that sound, I was very fortunate to make that my signature sound.
Yeah.
So whenever you would hear UTFO records, especially back in the day, I was always cutting up that R. And always trying to do something different with it. So a lot of DJs that was hungry for the culture and studying, by the time they figured out what I was doing with one thing, I come back with another one. And I come back with another R, and another scratch to the R. And it just became my signature sound, and as a result of that, certain signature scratches came as a result of that.
Yeah.
And, at the time, a lot of things that I was doing became standard. So you had to be able to do this, or you would be considered whack.
Right.
Same thing for me. There was, when I was studying hip hop, you had to learn how to do the proper rubs. Then you had to learn how to do the proper stabs. You had to learn just certain things you learn as the game elevates.
Yeah.
The fundamentals, you have to learn some of them. I was just fortunate enough to be one of the branches of that whole movement and coming up and trying to develop things that I didn't know at the time was going to be progressive into the culture. I'm just trying to have fun and be funky with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But a lot of times it's being at the right place at the right time. I've heard a quote from somebody. I've heard Grandmaster Caz say this. I don't know if he originated it, but and it's profound. And it says, hip hop didn't invent anything. It recreated everything.
Yeah.
And that's so dope. I'm just an extension of what was already going on and just trying to add my 2 cents to the culture.
Yeah. There's one thing, you've given me jewels throughout my DJ career, but you said, Lane, once you change the game, everybody must follow at that point. So that particular scratch changed the game because nobody was cutting like that.
It's a game changer.
That's what made you legendary in this game. Man, you gonna keep hanging out with us, man. But
Yes, indeed.
when we come back, we're gonna have another legend in the house as well, BHB. So we're gonna talk about how Ice got to Columbus, Ohio. And then from that point, he influenced people like myself, BHB, and a lot of other, elite people in hip hop in Columbus. So don't go nowhere. Magnificent Seven Countdown Show. We're going to actually, because we're calling this the classic show, we're playing a lot of classic videos. So I'm going to play a legendary hip hop group here from Columbus, Ohio. It's called Spirit. And it's produced by none other than J. Rawls, the worldwide. We call him International J. Rawls because he's known worldwide. But check out this video, man. It's called Spirit for You right here on Magnificent 7. Let's go.
Now we gathered here on the universe at this particular time, to listen to the 36 black notes of the piano. There's 36 black notes and 52 white notes. We don't mean to eliminate nothing, but we're going to just hear the black notes at this time, if you don't mind.
Represent my yacht with style and fashion. Hang out with 7 principals. We rockin' ASAC, Maligals, alive at the CNS Lounge. For you, immediate extended, live, real pretentious. For you, international, local, your area crew. Platform, stage, whatever the spot. Spirit blue, powder cake, arm, leg. Mayday, break a 1-2 with the arm, leg, arm, head. Keep it moving with a 1-2. Soldiers come through. 1-2, soldiers come through. Mayday, break a 1-2 with the arm, leg.
Stilettos looking small cause you're over creeping your toes. Nails on your forehead, moving your weave to the side. Hike your dress up so we can beat you shaking your thighs.
For you, arm, leg, we stay true. When living from the underwood risen for you. Black crowd, move proud for you. For MCs, master ceremony, make cream, manifest dreams for you.
It's a new day, it's a new dawn. They say the best is dead and gone. Come on, we guess not. It's a new day, it's a new dawn. And yes, we weather the storm, so stay calm and test not.
For you, I keep it reppin' for the soul force, 4 corners. Loving my soul on a fortified windstormer. Oracle spills the ether warmer. Blaze up the supernova. Mayday, break a 1-2 with the arm, leg, arm, head. Keep it moving with a 1-2. Soldiers come through. 1-2, soldiers come through. Mayday, break a 1-2 with the arm, leg, arm, head. Keep it moving with a 1-2. Soldiers come through. 1-2, soldiers come through. Must cultivate, motivate creatures to be seekers, believers in peace, love, and his love. This bloody mess. Bad soul, the bad chest, MCs, magnetic, creative, innovative, long awaited.
Alright, girls and gentlemen, Soul Train defeat Mars is all-star. Venus on the floor, moving moons to the beat. Comical clam heads and ends try to sit in they seat. Chisel your heart stone every time I give you a treat.
Crunch time, gold jiggers and fill dirt in the doja. Coming through like Range Rover, bouncing stay hover. Ja arm and ride a Sankofa. Deliver brand soldier, hand to hand combat to kill a made folder.
Traditional medicinal bird's eye view. Close encounters of the herbalist, third eye view. We came to show y'all a better way. Get away, explode y'all straight rolls to the letter J.
Mayday, break a 1-2 with the arm, leg, arm, head. Keep it moving with a 1-2. Soldiers come through. 1-2, soldiers come through. Mayday, break a 1-2 with the arm, leg, arm, head. Keep it moving with a 1-2. Soldiers come through. 1-2, soldiers come through. That's right, soldiers poised, infinitely reinforced in truth, baby. That's spirit for those that don't know. A good 10-4.
Welcome back to the Magnificent 7 Countdown Show. I'm your auntie's favorite DJ. As you can see, the couch is loaded with just nothing but legendary greatness right now. We got BHB in the house. Brothers helping brothers, man. How you feeling, bro?
I feel good, man. I'm here with Mixmaster Ice. And Lane Love.
Yeah, no doubt, man. We have honored both of y'all at the WTMH Music Awards as living legends. So obviously, to be a living legend, you have to have had a contribution to this city, and not only a contribution to the city, but a contribution to hip hop. So many kids are eating off of this, and this is why I brought you two brothers, because the Hip Hop Expo is March the 21st, and you're going. Mixmaster Ice was saying you're going on your 26th year. Man, that is. I mean, that deserves applause, because
Absolutely.
I mean,
Thanks, man.
for you to keep it going, especially when there's ups and downs of the city and getting permits and things of that nature, and how hard it is to put all of that together, and people from all over the world come to support what you do to keep this culture moving. So we appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate y'all, man.
Definitely, man. I had to bring you up since it's in about 2 weeks. But Ice, before we get into the expo, you're from Brooklyn.
Fact.
But then through touring and stuff like that, I'm gonna let you tell it. How did you make Columbus your home?
Well, we used to tour a lot, and through touring, I would meet different people in different cities, and some of these people and some of the promoters I would meet would bring me back to the cities to DJ, do concerts, whatever, skating rings, whatever they could have, how they could figure out, how to fit me in the DJ. So Columbus was one of several cities that whenever I had any downtime with UTFO, they would bring me back here. So as early as 86, 87, 88, people was bringing me here to DJ. This was one of the cities I was frequent a lot. And as a result of that, one of my good friends from here, my boy DJ Chili, he was DJing on the scene. He went to Ohio State. He was doing a lot of different things, and he was incorporating me on a bunch of stuff he was doing. Right. Make a long story short, we ended up forming a great bond, and his family sells real estate. So we was DJing. I had to hook up with all the groups, so we was promoting and bringing shows here. So we had the promoting game going on. We had the DJ game going on. Yeah. And his family sold real estate. So I dibbled and dabbled with them on the real estate tip, and end up getting my first house I've ever owned in Columbus, Ohio. And that is really, because at the time, UTFO, we had all this was early 90s. So by like 92, 93, we was kind of all doing our own thing by then anyway. And I had already been established a long DJ run just in a bunch of cities on my own. So at any given weekend, I could be different cities DJing. And Columbus was one city I used to be frequent a lot. But as a result of the bond between me and my boy, me hooking up with his family, the Wolfords, I was able to acquire my first property out here. And that is what really made me say, hey, you know what, I think I'm gonna go ahead and make this change and move to the Midwest. Plus at the time, I had hooked up, I put a studio together. I had a home studio where I had groups coming over, producing them, helping them with tracks. So I had got really heavy on the scene here, making beats and working with a few artists at the time. Sure. And so it was just a lot going on then. You had the studio going on. We were doing shows. We was DJing a lot. And I just, decided I'm gonna go ahead and relocate to the Midwest because I got some things going on out here.
So you wasn't just here being a superstar, you was really helping people get their music career going.
Yes, indeed.
Man, that is
yes,
dope.
Indeed.
We had a conversation and actually on the phone, and before that, Ice had said that there was a guy that helped him DJ. But I've actually seen you take kids with little talent and just they become phenomenal. What made you want to invest in the kids? Because, it's a lot of adults that want to break into this thing, but you said, okay, let me, you had told me one time, you was like, Delane, I wasn't focused on the clubs. I was focused on these kids. What made you focus on the kids in hip hop?
When I would see them, I would see me when I was in my younger years, you know what I'm saying? But the difference was I wanted to provide a different type of opportunity for young people that wasn't present when I was in the game. When I was breaking and everything back in the day, they were looking at me like, what is he doing spinning around on that cardboard? You know what I'm saying? So I could relate to the young people better because we both like the same things, music, dancing, DJing. So I wanted to share that. Now that's just been my thing. That's what I'm about. Plus, I don't have any children. And not having any children, that was my way to give back to the community.
You adopted a lot of
Incredible.
kids.
That's dope.
How? What was the year that you came in the knowledge of hip hop?
The year that I got started in the game or whatever?
Well, as far as who was like one of your first artists that you fell in love with?
Man, we listened to a lot of instrumental stuff. I remember Pop Goes My Love and songs like that, a whole bunch of instrumental crazy stuff, Electric Kingdom and all that. That's what rings a bell. But there was a bass player in my hood, and he played Roger Troutman a lot. And before, like, hip hop wasn't on the radio in Columbus. So as a kid, when I was playing football or we would be out on the street, when we heard Zap, you know, that was our song.
Yeah. Right.
That's all we had because you couldn't get no hip hop songs on the radio at all.
Right.
But that's what was dope about the DJ element. I remember when I was in school, most of the people who wanted to get deep into hip hop had to be cool with a DJ because you had to get a tape. You couldn't even get a lot of the music on cassette in the stores because it was on vinyl. So the DJ had to flip it. Then you had to know a DJ to get, you know, what you really like. You know, if something was really huge, a big record, then it was on cassette. CDs weren't even popping back then. I'm really giving you the true
tell the history,
But that's how it was. You had to know a DJ. So that I love that part of the game, and that still sticks with me.
So you were B-boy before you were DJ?
Same time, both. So DJ Mo Mix, he was my babysitter.
Okay.
He had turntables and a big Radio Raheem box in his basement. He had a mixer that didn't even have a headphone jack. It was a realistic 9-volt battery microphone mixer. And he flipped the outputs and put 1/4-inch adapters on them to get to RCA, to get to his box radio. So we had to bring in no crossfader. We had to bring in the joint a little bit so you could hear it a little bit before you brought the next record in. That was the way we were able to bring in the next song. It was nuts. Then we started getting into the faders with the little click action in the middle. I still got one, by the way.
Wow. Yeah. So we talking mid-'80s then.
Well, the mix 80s. He taught me, let's see, I got to Winchester in 78, so 79 is when I started learning how to spin. And B-boy in the basement. Well, really spinning more first, and then he had a vinyl floor down there. Yeah. So I was dancing and DJing all in one. And then in our neighborhood, we had a crew called the Crazy Gifted Brothers. So my man Zaki and Scott, they were real good with graffiti. And they would hook up jean jackets, pants, and all that. And we were always big on making bread, man. I never did anything illegal for money because we always found a way to make money with our art. Yeah. They would make jean jackets, and people were running up to this cat in school you got to hook my jacket up. He was like, all right, it's going to cost you this much. Yeah. People would get at me and be like, yo, I need you to DJ my party. And I started DJing the party when I was 10 years old. We lived in the apartments, but across the fence was the housing development, and the houses, they had bread. We didn't. Yeah, right. so somebody's dad gave me a little bit of bread when I was 10 to DJ, and then from there I just started doing it more and more.
Man, when we come back, we're definitely going to continue this conversation with hip hop and currency because that's a good segue into it. The number 6 video actually is going to feature myself because when I first got into the hip hop game, I still had the influence of church. I came in up under the church, so my grandmother definitely, had an influence of, you can't do this and do that. So I started out as gospel rapping. I ran into a gospel guru who got me into rapping and DJing, but as that kind of progressed, I ran into a guy, and they called him Street Pass. He was Lil Yavis at first. Lil Yavis was in a group called Roar, and I remember auditioning right there at the skating rink, doing a freestyle for his dad right there to just try to get in the group. So from there, we just formed a relationship. He bonded with me kind of more so than the guys in the group, and we ended up forming a record label probably about 2002. So what you're going to see right now is another contribution to Columbus hip hop. It's one of the artists that we eventually signed, J. Flu, New Sneakers, right here on Magnificent 7 Countdown.
Hey man, he gonna help you in a minute.
Ain't got time to take a fast train.
Haha, ain't a train, bro. You gonna help him out.
Hey, y'all got this in the tour?
Get back, I'm about to go check the store right now.
Yo, you gonna be. Hey man, go do it all, man. Yeah, bro, you go help. You gonna play 4 times game, bro. Oh yeah, what's up, man?
Every time I come in, it's the same thing every week. I come in, y'all in here playing. Man, we got customers all over the store right now. There's a customer over here, there's a customer right over there. I need y'all to help them out right now.
studio. Columbus, listen up. You know I'm always trying to keep you in the know about what's going on. Yavis and J Flu, they are down there at the Short North Soul Classics. Head out there. They got a big sale going on. You know you need the hookup. We got a recession going on. Go out there, support them, and get your hookup on the sneaks out there. Soul Classics. Just ask for J Flu and Yavis. All right, they're gonna hook you up right there.
You hear that? Those are my footsteps. You hear me coming? Yeah. Remix. To gospel on my feet. Yeah, that. J Flu and Young Street. I'm here. Okay. Pete.
I'm in new sneakers, new sneakers. I'm in new sneakers, new sneakers.
I'm in new sneakers, new sneakers. I'm in new sneakers, new sneakers. I'm in new sneakers, new sneakers. I'm in new sneakers, new sneakers. I'm in the new sneakers, new sneakers. Gospel on my feet, hey, gospel on my feet. My kick game crazy. God ordered steps since the mid '80s. I beat the shoe game, you in the Blazers. But look at me though, I'm walking in favor. Oh, you don't like these? It's cool, bruh. Cause real talk, I don't even like the Supras. And you was in those, and them toes was like, geez, give me those, no Timbos. Bro, you can keep those. And I ain't talking about your feet, but you got weak soles. When I'm in those, I feel easy. So give me 2 pair, keep the Air Yeezys. On cloud 9, even above that. My shoes come with haters, gotta love that. My mind's made up, so you can't tell me my shoe game ain't funky. You smell me? I'm in
new sneakers, new sneakers.
Yeah, I'm in
new sneakers, new sneakers.
Yeah, I'm in the new sneakers. Gospel on my feet, I'm in the new sneakers.
I'm in new sneakers, new sneakers. I'm in new sneakers, new sneakers.
I'm in new sneakers, new sneakers. I'm in new sneakers, new sneakers.
Now dig this, the kicks I've been fresh in. Got the boy street feeling newer than a freshman. And I don't really care where I be stepped in, cause I got the power to clean when I step in. I don't trip, I don't fail like an FN. The less in, I tuck it in like a web in. Pow pow, I hand them the whole clip, the word living bread, so I mix them a sandwich. My laces be laced in Galatians. I make 16s easy like 8 twins. My iBuy give new balance to these guys. Way before Grant, he'll sign lines with felines. They didn't put wool over the sheep's eyes. True facts, Air Max don't make you fly. Foot Locker won't get you to the finish line. Wage of sin is death, and now you can't pay less. And I'm in.
New sneakers,
We in.
New sneakers, new sneakers.
Okay, I'm in. New sneakers, new sneakers.
I'm in new sneakers, new sneakers.
I'm in new sneakers, new sneakers. I'm in new sneakers, new sneakers.
I'm in new sneakers, new sneakers. I'm in new sneakers, new sneakers.
Seven Countdown Show. I got the legends in the building, BHB, Mixmaster Ice, and we just talking about, you know, the nuances of radio and being a DJ on the radio, man. And BHB did bring up that Ice for a number of years was our only hip hop outlet because he had complete freedom over what he could play on. I didn't know that you had a contract that said you could play whatever you want. How did you negotiate that contract?
Well, when they wanted to get me on to do the show, it all started with, it all actually started on the morning show, Paul Strong morning show, my homie Bobby Ferguson, he was promoting the show here, and 107 was having a Memorial Day party at the Valley Dale. So they hired me to DJ. So Paul suggested I come in on his show in the morning, give him a little taste on what to expect at the Valley Dale. It was like a little promotion.
Sure.
As a result of me doing that, it just blew the city up because I'm playing throwbacks at 7 in the morning. So the city went lit. The GM at the time, Charles, he wanted to sit down and talk to me and figure out how he could get me more involved. So we did. We had a few negotiations on what I needed. And one of the things, you know, that we talked about in addition to fees and stuff was I wanted to make sure I had full control and wasn't boxed and limited in what I had access to play.
Yeah.
And, you know, he respected my legendary status and said, bro, just create the show and just, you know, just vibe out. And, you know, that was dope to be able to have that freedom.
Yeah.
And not, you know, be limited in what era I could play, what type of music I could play. They gave me that freedom that allowed me to do that. But that was also part of the deal in me talking to them, that I needed to have that as well.
But I think the reason why we loved it so much, I think going back to CTNT, Sunday Night at the Raps, we hadn't had that for a good 20 years.
Wow.
Right? Because they had that freedom on CTNT. But that's a New York culture type of thing. So
Absolutely.
you got, you know, Mr. Magic, you got Red Alert, who had complete freedom to play what they wanted to play as well. Do y'all feel like breaking records, because that's what moved the culture forward back then, breaking records is a lost thing now, you know, as far as people just being able to say, I like what I hear. Let me see if y'all feeling it too.
I would say it depends on how you look at it. In a lot of incidences, it's all about control. So a lot of the PDs and a lot of the people that are in higher seats, they want to control what trickles down. You know what I'm saying? So some DJs have to acquire a big status of respect to be able to have that leeway, because a lot of DJs, they're under the guidance of the program director and what their, you know, top 10, top 20 songs are.
Yeah.
You know, breaking a record can put somebody on in a major way.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes it's about the money, sometimes it's about the power.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people control what make it in and what make it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's switch lanes for a minute. Paying dues. I remember every Sunday night having to run downstairs to the car. You would have about 8 to 10 crates.
Yeah. We still in the crate era, yeah.
And yeah, because we didn't have Serato yet, did we?
Nope, sir. It had just started to come in a little bit, but I was one of them stubborn DJs that was still carrying them crates and didn't want to cross over the technology yet. I was still carrying them crates. That show that you're talking about was called the Old School Basement Party on Power 107.5 in Columbus.
Yeah.
And I was live on air from 6 to 10 every Sunday for 4 years.
Wow.
And I was, like you said, I would carry those crates with me, and I would have anywhere from 6 to 10 crates maybe every given Sunday in the studio, that I'm picking from to DJ with.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then I was happy to say I carried crates for Mixmaster Ice, and even sometimes you would let me carry them to his show as well. I see a lot of young kids now, they don't really like to pay dues. Where do you think they got lost at, as far as, I'm gonna pose that to B, where do you think it got lost as kids don't like to pay dues and pay homage to, you know, what came before them now?
It starts at the crib.
Yeah.
If you don't have that much respect for your, you know, parents or, you know, your uncles or whatever, and that trickles on down. And I think the respect level in general has declined dramatically.
Yeah, yeah.
Overall. And the disconnect on your elders, disconnect on Black history.
Yeah.
All that plays a role, because, you know, Ice created history.
Yeah, he did.
We're creating history with everything that we're doing, but it's just like young people, a lot of that doesn't matter to them. When I sit and listen to them speak, they could care less about what happened, you know, before they got here.
Yeah.
So that's what happens with that. But the positive side of that is just leading by example. When you can, you know, kind of show them, hey, this is how it all went down. And what I did with some young people in the workshop last week, I was explaining to them how I went about becoming a DJ.
Yeah.
And how it didn't just drop out of the sky. So when I could explain what it took to get to the next level, then it made more sense to a lot of them. So sometimes it's just a conversation.
It really is, because the funny thing is, I remember Trillville. They didn't know who Mixmaster Ice was, and Ice was pissed because he was saying, "You eating off this culture, you should know who I am." You know what I mean? But then you got somebody like Little John just bowing to him like this, and it's like, okay. And I think it's because John, people don't realize that he had been in the game for years, even before he even blew. So of course he's coming from that Jermaine Dupri era. You know, him and Jermaine came up together, so that's from Houdini. A lot of people don't know Jermaine used to breakdance for Houdini.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So
it's humble beginnings.
Exactly, man. So Ice, real quick before we go to the next video, I've seen your ups and downs as far as, you know, some days it's some years it's up where you're touring everywhere, and I remember you told me that you had to get a job one year. This was a long time ago because basically the gigs weren't coming up. Tell the people, why does that usually happen? You know what I'm saying? As far as you could be touring around the world, and next thing you know, boom, you got to get a gig.
You know, it depends on how you set yourselves up in the moves that you make, and for the most part, at the end of the day, you got to pay your bills. At the end of the day, you got to provide for your family.
Yeah.
You know, there was a time when the value on my part of the craft was not being respected in my eyes. So I love what I do, but I'm not going to be taken advantage of for somebody else's benefit. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if, this is a prime example, if you're trying to box me into a price fee that you're paying people that haven't nowhere near the level of experience as me, that's not fair to me.
Yeah.
I'd rather take a step back, let you go ahead and mess with that, and then you realize what I bring to the game, and then you come back to me with the proper respect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
But there was 1 year in the game, and this was probably 2001, and what happened is I needed to get a job because, for one, tax purposes. I needed something legitimate on the books at that particular time to file taxes with. So it made sense for me to have a little 9-to-5 at that time. Since then, I had structured my business properly where my DJing and different things I do, I'm able to pay taxes on it from a business perspective.
Okay.
So I kind of needed that for that year to kind of swing me into getting everything business legit for what I already was doing, which was DJing.
Okay.
Making it an empire and paying taxes, because you got to pay your taxes.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You buying houses and cars, you got to pay taxes out here. So, but yeah. But at the end of the day, it's, you know, I love what I do.
Right.
So it don't feel like work.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But if somebody's taking advantage of what you bring to the table, you can't blame nobody but yourself, because you could say no.
Yeah,
and sometimes you have to
God.
say no.
You dropping jewels.
Yes, indeed.
Because, I mean, I pose it to both of you. In order to run a hip hop expo, you have to know business. And a lot of, I wouldn't even say a lot of kids, a lot of artists, period, they just want to focus on the art of it, but then find themselves getting jerked because they don't take the time to say, hey, I'm worth this much. Who teaches an artist to say, let's pause for a second. We know you're talented. Who teaches the artist to say, all right, let's get this business together?
Yeah, I believe that in Columbus, it's unfortunate that there's not that many people who can teach that. There was no one that could really teach me. I learned some things through trial and error, and also learned things through. I'm a different type of personality than some hip hop heads. I get in the mirror and I believe in myself first. It's me, God, then go.
That's right.
Versus waiting for an approval rating from a whole bunch of hip hop people. And it makes the process move along. I'm big on, you know, let's go. You know, I don't want to move recklessly, but at the same time, if I'm good with what my decisions are, and the creator's down with me, I'm cool. I'm not always, you know, doing something to reap the benefits from a particular individual. My rewards come from a higher power, and I roll with it. And it's always worked for me for a long time. And there's some adversity along the way, without a doubt. There was some racism that a lot of Columbus hip hop doesn't talk about. It was interesting. There's some black people who actually almost, you know, act like they needed white folks to approve what they were doing in hip hop. That's real talk.
Yeah.
And it's only because they didn't feel confident enough about themselves. When this is a culture that I saw people that look like me first.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not here to divide. That's not what it's about. But I'm just saying, I'm not going to look for someone who I didn't see in the beginning
Yeah.
to tell me what level hip hop is supposed to be on, or to tell me what's official. This man right here set it down. He put it down. I saw this man at the Ohio Center.
Whoa.
With a ninja outfit back in the day, you know what I'm saying? So some people, but what I found out also with Columbus, there are a lot of people who hip hop started out for them in the 90s. Yeah. So they move on what they know. So some people only know, you know, where they started, but then they go too far with it sometimes because they don't understand that.
Yeah.
This dude was doing some things.
Thank you.
Before they said wham.
Yeah, absolutely. You so humble, B. When you started the Hip Hop Expo, what was the outcome? What was the turnout like?
I know it was in 2,500 square feet. I probably had about, I want to say 350 to 400 people in the first one.
That's a good turnout for your first one.
But what was dope, like when I started out, the flea market was popping.
Yeah.
So my concept was I wanted to get the vendors in the flea market to get down with me, and they did. So we had cats that would airbrush at the flea market. People selling pagers.
Yeah.
People moving mace to protect the ladies and stuff. So we had people doing those type of things. And then the hair community was behind me. Like there was a hair show at the first expo.
Right.
So all the young ladies that would do hair, they would come to the expo, do a hair show with hip hop music, and that blew it up too, because you know the hair community's big. This year I actually have a hair show, a natural hair show.
Wow.
At the expo. That's cool.
dope.
So I wanted to bring that element back because that was a big part of what blew it up back then. And people were excited and wanting to make things happen. Plus we weren't pulling our camera phones out to video everything, so the moment meant more in the beginning.
Yeah, you were more engaged.
You know, that particular moment in time was critical because you couldn't just go flip a phone out and go say, see this video right here? That's why to this day, part of that's still in me.
Yeah.
You won't see me on the internet video and everything, and I'm doing a lot weekly, but the moment's important to me.
Gotta be there.
Man, so 94 was the first year.
5.
95 was the first year.
Mhm.
Man, you've come a long way.
Oh, I love it, man. It's passion, bro.
Absolutely,
I love
man.
what I do.
Well, we gonna come back. We probably gonna have to wrap up in a minute, but
Oh, hold on, man. I got something for y'all before I forget. So this is for you.
Oh.
Bearing gifts.
The official Hip Hop Expo T-shirt.
Thank you, sir.
Mixmaster Ice.
I appreciate you.
For you, the legend in the game.
My man.
Yeah. Make sure y'all come out March 21st.
I appreciate you.
2020. Ohio Center, right?
Where's
it gonna be this year?
Columbus Convention Center every year.
Columbus Convention Center every single year. So make sure if you ain't got your tickets or whatever, what's the website where they can?
Just show up and bring $10.
Just show up and bring $10. Man, it happens every year. Once you get downtown, you're going to know where everybody's going. So make sure you be a part of that. We're going to shoot through during the day. It's an all-day affair, so make sure you pull up. When we come back, we're going to definitely talk about the technology of DJing because you're both DJs as well. So, there's still one big divide as far as vinyl and the new tech. So we're going to, wrap up the conversations there, and then we're just going to give some shout-outs. But we're going to have the third I'm sorry, no. This is my guy. He actually was one of the only DJ. We had Goldfinger's DJ because we was trying to make this like a Rap City funky rock show.
Dope.
So yeah, and anytime I say the funky rock show, you got to be classic to know what it was. It was just basically like this. It was on public access, and this was our outlet to see what hip hop looked like. So that's where I saw Rockbox. I saw Pastor Dutchie. Just all these things that musical you. So it wasn't just all rap. But then you would just wait to see Curtis blow basketball and all that stuff. So you did get to see rap videos because MTV wasn't playing those rap videos. So, this is just my homage to the Funky Rock Show. But Prime, he is just really one of those guys who have put in work. He is another legend. Mm-hmm. Not only a legendary DJ, but a legendary producer. He's produced for Columbus Mob, Spirit, Rashad, myself. He just went down the line of the people that he's helped produce. And he is really a humble spirit as well.
He'll be DJing at the expo.
Yeah, he'll be DJing at the expo, so please make sure you check him out. But Ephraim Harris is one of my favorite videos of his because it's just so smooth. So check it out right here on the Magnificent Seven Countdown Show, Happy Hour. Ephraim Harris, let's get it. You already know. I brought a few friends along with me. This is a little something special we put together from all of us to all of y'all. Look, this here is just a friendly invitation from me and my friends to every planet's population. It's a little groove for you to kick back with, a well-deserved interlude from all that wick-wack shit. I'm saying, this here, it's on that grown folks mood, the type I like to tote, blow smoke, and then float to. This vibe is gassed up, ready to take flight, so accept this invite to have a great night. Let your cares and worries levitate and skate, so for at least a couple hours you ain't got that weight on your back, on your shoulders, on your mind and thoughts. Bring all the drama in your life to a grinding halt. Grab a lime, some salt, top shelf tequila, and blow off some steam with your team and La Familia. From myself, Miss Critical, Sir Charles and Prime. When we reach the end of this, let's do it one more time, cause we go.
To happy hour on a Friday. Come on, get your booty on. Your favorite song to the break of dawn. Welcome to happy hour on a Friday. Relax and come in, throw your cares to the wind. Have drinks with a friend, it's the weekend.
I've been through Lunes, Martes, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I've had enough for foolish people trying to try me. Without my honey liquor, things will implode. I'll drink it straight, I know 3 shots will surely warm up the soul. Let's choose a place that encapsulates growth, rerouting immaturity to reciting an oath, rezoning grown and sexy mentals to their spot on the throne, and all the iridescence in our lives we're leaving alone. I think I see Eclipse chilling with Prime. We're about to float on stage and get to cool in your minds. We are about to resurrect those thoughts and feelings sublime. Now all we need is Sir Charles to help us bless up the mic. To all the ladies looking right, make sure your smile's intact. No person wants to interact with beauty scours like that. All the fellas looking smooth, make sure your wallets are fatty. You might be leaving here alone. Now how you feel about that? Cause we
Welcome to happy hour on a Friday. Come on, get your booty on. Your favorite song to the break of dawn. Welcome to happy hour on a Friday. Relax and come in, throw your cares to the wind. Have drinks with a friend, it's the weekend. Let's celebrate, staying alive. Whatever your hustle or your 9 to 5, happy hour, what can go wrong? Cause all around the world it's the same song. Overworked and underpaid, I'm really thanking God today's Friday. Let's toast with 3 friends of mine. Raise your glass to the roof and let's have a good time.
happy hour, have a good time. Happy hour, it's time to unwind. Happy hour, friends will make it alright. Chillin' on a Friday night, chillin' on a Friday night. Happy hour, have a good time. Happy hour, it's time to unwind. Happy hour, friends will make it alright. Chillin' on a Friday night, chillin' on a Friday night.
Welcome to happy hour on a Friday. Come on, get your booty on. Your favorite song to the break of dawn. Welcome to happy hour on a Friday. Relax and come in, throw your cares to the wind. Have drinks with a friend, it's the weekend.
Radio or just like in the
So
park?
we're back, and I want you in on this conversation because Roxanne was not supposed to be the hit. So Ice is going to walk us through how Roxanne became the hit, but he's also going to tell you the story that he almost didn't make the record at all. He almost didn't make the group. So I love that story when you tell him, like, you know, you almost didn't, you almost wasn't in UTFO.
Well, I was in UTFO. Almost didn't make the record.
You almost didn't make the record.
Well, here's what happened. So our first record deal was a song called Beats and Rhymes.
Okay.
Early '84, and
Rhymes.
UTFO we only had a single deal. So the record did okay. Record company gave us another single deal, and on that next single deal, we did a song called "Hanging Out." That was on the A side. On the B side, we did a B side cut, and the B side was actually Roxanne, Roxanne.
Yeah.
Hanging Out was supposed to be the hit record that was supposed to take off, and that's what we was promoting at the time.
Yeah.
It just so happened that Roxanne, Roxanne just fed the street with what they wanted to hear, and it took off.
Wow.
Certain DJs started playing it real heavy. Red Alert is one of the first that I can remember that kind of debuted it, and it just took off. That was one of them songs that it blew up instantly. And when Shantae answered the record, that opened up a whole nother floodgate. Then we answered our own record and brought out the real Roxanne, and then from there it was like 18 other answer records. So the record became a big phenomenon in hip hop. But back to the Hanging Out and the Roxanne record, that was before we even had an album deal. The success of the Roxanne record is what made the record company say, hey, all right, let's do an album deal. So now let me go back to the other question, how I almost didn't make the cut. What happened is, during the time of the Beats and Rhymes, we all still in high school at the time. And I was a product of my environment in my neighborhood of East Flatbush, Brooklyn, doing some things in the hood I probably shouldn't have been doing. But, we was little bad boys running around doing things we shouldn't have been doing, getting in trouble. And as a result of that, I ended up getting in some trouble, which caused me to have to stay at home and get my act together, finish school and things of that nature. And make a long story short, I did that, went on and graduated. And at the time, UTFO was working on another project with Full Force, which is our producers. So make a long story short, by me not being out and about, I didn't realize how they were moving so fast with getting another single deal and what was going to come out. So as a result of that, somebody, I don't even remember who it was, knocked on my door and was like, hey man, what's going on? What's going on with you and the fellas, man? They back in the studio working with some stuff with Full Force, blah, 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 blah. You need to go run over Kang's house, see what's going on. So I did that. And when I got over there, this is true story. When I knocked on his door, I probably hadn't seen him in a couple of months. They were to go into the studio the next day and finish the Roxanne record. Only thing needed on the record was cuts. The record was done. I think the vocals was done, the music was done. Full Force was just going to mix it down, and it needed cuts. And because I had been off the scene for a while, they was actually going to roll with Howie T, because Howie T was involved a little bit, and Howie T was going to come in and do the cuts.
That's crazy.
He was going to come in and do cuts on the record. So this is the day before. So I'm over Kang's house, and he's telling me about blah blah blah. He was like, hey, but you know what, man? I'm rolling at 9 in the morning. I'll come scoop you up. He's like, man, if you put something dope down and knock it out, then we good. So the next day, and keep this in mind, this is a true story. I probably hadn't practiced maybe in 4 or 5 months, because I had kind of stopped DJing. Because I had got in trouble. I'm trying to finish school. DJing was making me go out there to try to get money to buy records and buy different things. So I was getting in trouble trying to get money to do what I love to do. But make a long story short, Kang scooped me up. I went into the studio. I was using Howie's turntables, Howie's mixer, because Kang had the stuff. Because Howie was going to come in and lay some scratches. So anyway, make a long story short, Kang already had some of the equipment, so I used that equipment in the studio. And as a DJ, sometimes you get on people's stuff, you gotta. But anyway, make a long story short, I went in there and was able to put down some really dope scratches that, fortunate for me, became iconic in the game. But I almost missed that boat ride. I almost missed that boat ride because that record, when I knocked on his door to see what they were doing, that record was going to be finished the next day. It was going to be pressed
up. Oh my God!
It was going to be finished. They was going to finish the recording the next day.
So hip hop literally saved your life.
Yes, indeed. I always was the group DJ, but I had been off the scene for a while. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, hip hop definitely is something that I look at, as end result of my faith in God, as definitely something that saved me, took me out of the hood, took me around the world, and gave me an opportunity to inspire others the same way I was inspired by the culture.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And then not only did we talk about the infamous scratch, but you had dropped some history, and Roxanne was the first record to have cuts all the way through the record. So you're cutting all the way through the
Yes,
record.
yes.
That's the first record.
There's a lot of cutting. Yeah, I'm cutting throughout. At that time, I don't even know if even to this day if there's a hip hop record with rappers that have more cuts per bars than Roxanne. It definitely was a game changer at that particular time because I'm cutting throughout all the verses as well as the chorus. Most DJs are cutting in the chorus.
Yeah.
I'm cutting in the verses. I'm cutting anywhere.
Where they get the solo at the end.
Yeah, and at the end.
But you're cutting through the whole record.
Yeah.
I'm chopping it anywhere. Give me just tell me where. Hit record. All right, you want something here? I'll give you something there. Hit record, whatever. Yeah, but that record at that particular time was a game changer in that aspect because there's scratches throughout the whole record.
And I think it resonated with the streets because we're gonna talk DJ stuff for a minute. That's a Billy Squier record. So boom, 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 boom.
Breakbeat.
So Run DMC used it, and Here We Go. Y'all used it, so that was a popular. And we wasn't taking rap. We didn't have a lot of rap records, so we were taking rock records and making rap music.
Well, that's where hip hop was at the time. We would rock our mom and pop's records or whatever we can get our hands on that was funky. You get 2 copies of it and you repeat the loop. We were human samplers. We would repeat the loops and the break dancers would break to that and the rappers would rap to that. So that's how we were performing in the streets. This is before rap records became commercialized on the radio.
Yeah.
From the street level, we was human samplers. We would find 2 records with a funky break, James Brown. It could be 2 rock records. It could be 2 country records that got a nice little funky beat. It could be whatever. It could be a pop record. It can be whatever has a beat that a rapper can put some nice bars on or party rock to, and the break dancers are breaking dancing to. Anything funky.
Yeah.
Anything funky. It didn't matter what culture it came from, what type of music, because all type of musics had different, instrumentals in it.
Right.
And basically that's what the rappers would rap off of, the instrumental breaks of each song. Just like Good Times. Good Times was a very popular record by Chic, and that breakdown part where it's just the instrumental, we would cut that up, and if you can keep it on beat, the rappers could flow just like it's a record. You see?
Yeah.
Now, just to add to that, this is before the drum machine era and all the technology that's out. Rappers, as a result of rap coming from the turntables of the rappers performing off of the DJ repeating the break, early rap recordings was the rappers going in, rapping with the band.
You had a band, so it wasn't samples.
Not yet. So there was the band that would come in. So let's say you had Chic Good Times. Well, you would have a band reproduce that in the studio, and that's what you would rap off of.
Oh.
So, when you listen to Curtis Blow Christmas rap, that's a band playing. When you listen to Rapper's Delight, that's a band playing. When you listen to some of the early Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 records, those are bands playing. The Treacherous Street records, those are bands.
Okay.
All of that is bands playing. It wasn't to the second wave, which I consider being part of the second wave, when you start talking about Run DMC, Houdini, Fat Boys, UTFO. When you start talking about us, we were the second era that kind of came in doing samples, doing drum machines, and and giving that rawness.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So and just to close out that, I think this is why a lot of DJs that are from the older generation really give the newer DJs a harder time, because it was so much into picking a certain record, digging for records to sound original, to be original. Biting was a no-no, in those particular times. Now biting is everywhere you go. If you don't sound like this guy, you don't even get on. But during the early years and the times that we grew up, you had to be 100% original, which made it, a little bit harder to go through and, not only perfect your art, because like you said, you had to cut on time. You had to make sure to be. There's a part actually in Here We Go where Jam Master Jay actually misses the cut, so you can hear him messing up. But of course, that's Jam Master Jay, so you ain't gonna say no. But that's what lets you know, man, you're doing this live. You know what I'm saying? You're giving a show live, and the DJ is really having to keep time with the rapper. So do you think that because there was so much that went into performing is why kind of the older DJs look at the young DJs like, man, y'all spoiled, y'all. You know, all you got to do is hit a cue button. You know what I mean? What do you think on that beat?
I think everybody's different, man. I mean, even, you know, you have to think about when you get into a game. Yeah. If you get into the game and the technology's better, embrace it and use it. Mm-hmm. That's how I look at it. Now, this kind of reminds me of, I DJ'd a lot with live bands. You know, coming up, I rock with Foley and some cats from Mint Condition and all that. But when you rock with a band, you get to really hear how dope it is to hear a band versus hearing somebody loop a bass line on a track.
Yeah.
So there's different dynamics when it comes to rocking with a live band versus just making a track, you know, Jodeci style in the studio versus Mint Condition or Parliament Funkadelic style.
Yeah.
So it's a different feel, you know, and I think that's what the old school and new school thing goes back and forth with, especially on the vinyl. It's a totally different feel on that record versus when I had to teach these young people on controllers and all that. But
yeah,
they're there. I think they should use whatever they can get because it's present, you know, it's available.
Yeah.
It would be like people recording on an 8-track when the cassette was available.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How much should we throw a dart at a young cat because they come from a different era? It's good. Now, I have one young DJ that I taught. He's an electronic music DJ, and he uses all that CDJ stuff and controllers, but he said he's glad that he learned on vinyl as well. He said it helps me out on the new stuff and the old stuff. So
it's like you said, though. I think when you look at a person who plays a trumpet or an actual instrument, there's a lot of hours that go into it. I'm not saying there's not a lot of hours into a producer who can, you know, make that same sound, but it's a whole lot more soul when you have a, you know, person who can play a saxophone and vice versa, somebody who picks that sample. I mean, Premier sounds dope, but he doesn't play. Timbaland sounds dope, but he doesn't play, right? So I think that's where the appreciation comes from, because I will say this, when you see that DJ with them, you know, techniques, and you seeing that vinyl come out, there's a level of respect that comes out because we know that you have put in the work and put in the hours. So, you know, and we do have outlets. Your outlet, of course, we have the Redo on vinyl. You've spun there plenty of times.
Absolutely.
And you have gotten nothing but love and respect each and every time you do the Redo, because it's just one of those things to see Ice really in his element. Do you go someplace when you just putting out all that, you know, that vinyl and you just cutting all that stuff up?
You know, it's just, you know, reliving the culture, and that's how we came up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, when you can go somewhere and see a performance, it's just like going to see a band. If you can go somewhere and watch a band perform live, that's incredible. That's an incredible atmosphere to be in. If you can go somewhere and hear a DJ performing live on vinyl, that's an incredible atmosphere to be in. You understand what I'm saying? And it without the old, there can never be the new. So, you know, there's always a place where that's going to be appreciated.
Yeah.
You know, and then like you said, you do have to embrace the new technology also, because we can't be dinosaurs. And in defense of the youth, they don't have the leeway of being able to go and find records to pick through and play. They don't press vinyl out like that anymore.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they have to take advantage of the technology, which is, you know, MP3s and downloads and different things like that. My thing is, I was a little stubborn crossing the digital divide at first, but I fully embrace it to the fullest now. And at the end of the day, you know, where I would have to carry, like you said, 10 crates to the radio show, now I got my laptop with 50 to 100,000 songs in it. And I have access to all of that with me. You understand what I'm saying? But, you know, the technology isn't going to make you a better DJ. You still have to be good at what you do. Your timing still got to be on point.
Right.
You still have to execute properly. You know, the technology can just enhance what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So for those that come in that didn't, you know, come from the vinyl era, you know, my thing with them is you're at an advantage of coming in that you don't have to put the work in that a lot of us pay dues for. My only issue with them is know the history of those that put the work in for you to have it so easy.
Yeah.
Because history's there.
It
you know,
is.
just to piggyback on what you were saying earlier, unfortunately, hip hop is one of the very only cultures where there's a divide between the youth and the original pioneers and the legends in the game. And it shouldn't be that way, because it's not like that in any other situation. You know, the new wrestlers, they know the OGs. If you're into jazz music, you know your legends. You salute them. If you're into basketball now, you know who put it down. You know your Dr. J's and Larry Birds and all of them and Magic Johnsons. If you're into rock and roll, you know them OGs and you know that. It should not be different for hip hop, especially with it being one of the youngest music cultures in the game. The youth should know who the legends and pioneers are that helped pave the way for them to be able to eat the way that they do now.
Yeah, man. And I was spoiled because my first experience was you. So therefore, I'm saying my first experience is Ice. No, sky's the limit at this point. But because of being on that show for 6 to 7 years myself, I was able to sit down with people like Ron G, Kid Capri, DJ Hollywood, and really understand. And then when I mentioned your name, they just like, oh, well, shoot, you got it. You know what I'm saying, at this point. But before we get out of here, man, tell the people where they can hear you on the radio at. And
Okay. So right now, currently, I landed a spot on 106.7 The Beat in Columbus, Ohio. If you're not in the Columbus area, you can log on to the iHeart Radio app. Look up 106.7 The Beat, and you can hear me online. I rock from 7. I'm sorry, I said 7. I rock from 12 to 1. I do the midday mix where I'm rocking throwbacks, having a ball with it. During the lunch break from 12 to 1, you can check me out. And also, if you're online, hit me up on my IG at Mixmaster Ice. And let's talk, let's politic, and you know, let's have some fun, y'all.
PHB, what's happening on the 21st, man?
March 21st, 26th Annual Hip Hop Expo, Columbus Convention Center. We're going to have Trigno. Who else is down there? Cassius Keys. Savage is another dancer that's going to get down. Crump battle, B-boy battle, B-girl battle. Live band with Rob Riley, Jeff Rowe Jams, just to name a few. Donnie J. Who else is going to be there? You need to be there. Oh, 21 Pilots sound man is my sound man, which is really dope. So the Grammy Award winning 21 Pilots sound man will be the sound man at the Hip Hop Expo.
Big.
Dude don't even plug into 110. He plugs in like with a 240 volt dryer plug type joint. It's nuts.
Wow.
And the cool thing was he called me and asked me to do it again after he got off tour. That was dope.
Man.
Salute.
We really appreciate you guys for contributing. I like to say Columbus Hip Hop is because basically we had to embrace our city before the world can embrace our city. People don't realize that we've been putting in a lot of contributions and world-renowned contributions for a while now. J. Rawls, Rob Riley, Liquid Crystal Project, Spirit. You just got, and then there's this new wave of people like the record labels are coming through and snatching these new artists up now. So, but you guys started it. So. I really wanted to bring you on so the younger people that are blowing up now, because they've been on the show too, can see, hey, like what Ice always says, without the old, there can never be the new.
Absolutely.
So, man, keep doing what you're doing, man. Appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, man. We'll be right back here next week. We're going to play the next three videos, of course, because I knew this interview was going to be, we needed the whole hour, you know, especially when you got legends on the show. But we're going to play Blueprint is definitely.
Let me just say one thing before you close it out.
Sure.
I want to give a big shout out to WTMH
Same here.
for doing their thing, man. They've been in the game for a long time.
Yes.
I respect y'all. Y'all gave myself a Lifetime Achievement Award. You gave BHB one. I definitely humbly appreciate all the love and support always, man. And I wish y'all nothing but the best, y'all. For all the listeners out there, continue to support WTMH because they out here providing good content.
Word.
And they respect the city and they respect the culture. All right?
That is so dope for you. Say there's nothing else to say. See y'all next week. Next three videos. Blueprint. Let me tell you. Blueprint audio unit, of course. Dope producer in the city with Dominique LaRue, and then we're gonna close it out with the #1 video. We got the legendary Mixmaster Ice. Rest in peace to the educated rapper who was on this actual video, but it's gonna be UTFO Roxanne. We'll see y'all next week.
girl stabbed on a college campus. 20 school kids gunned down in Sandy Hook. A black teenager is murdered over skin color. It feel like the chaos is everywhere you look. 30 Afghans killed at a family wedding. 60 Iraqi killed trying to vote. A woman gets gang raped out in India. 5 kids' lives get ended by a drone. I don't care if you living in a high rise. You're no different from a man in a hut. Every single life is sacred in God's eyes. You ain't worth more cause you got more stuff. I don't care what the color of your skin is. I don't care about your fortune or fame. I just want for us to have more perspective and understanding everybody's pain is the same. Perspective. Bird's eye view. It's beautiful up here. Understanding and empathy for all others. Appreciation as a half for the have-nots. Recognizing people's worth is decided by the content of the character and not what they got. I get upset cause it seems so hard for us. When we lie to ourselves, we sound so crazy. We tell ourselves that they don't work as hard as us. They could be like us if they just weren't lazy. I think it's just an excuse that allows us to treat them as less human. Cause once we begin to take it as the truth, it justifies all the evil things that we do to them. Some people work hard and barely scrape by. Others work hard and end up rich. It doesn't mean you shouldn't celebrate success, but understand the systematic hurdles that exist. Perspective. Bird's eye view. Beautiful up here. Might shed a tear. A man with no shoes stands on a corner, sad about his circumstance and being on the street. Then realized that it wasn't that bad when he was joined by another man that had no feet. A woman makes a post on Facebook about how she and her brother got beef. Unaware it was read by a friend of hers whose own brother passed away just last week. Boston gets hit by a dirty bomb. 100 people injured, 3 people died. Rare for us, but for many that's the norm. The daily threat of an attack is part of their lives. I ain't saying what we feel ain't real, but understand just what it means to be privileged. That's when you ignore the circumstances of those less fortunate than you that you don't have to live in. Perspective. Bird's eye view. It's beautiful up here. Might shed a tear. Please take a quick second to subscribe to our YouTube channel by pressing the red.
They think I'm so unreasonable, like nices comes only seasonal, like the basis is on and need to know, like I don't smile much and don't be greeting folks, but I'm chill, I'm ill, do whatever the fuck that I feel, don't start acting like I'm not trill, no matter what you say, I'm fly still, bitch. Might have had a little alcohol, 5'2", but I be sounding tall. You think I sleep with the fishes, I don't dry the door. You think it ain't for shit, but see I found the cause, and you knowing that you're bound to fall when you're coming straight for me like my crown ain't large and my style uncut like a pound of roll. And I'ma do the job until the problem solved like shit, yeah. Now we sitting here pouring it up, put a little more in a cup like this, yeah. Not that's more than enough. Ain't nobody larger than us, you will get there, but you can't force it or rush. So let me make it crystal clear before you falling off and then you disappear. So come a little closer, let me rid your fears like this, yeah. Like this, yeah. You would love to undress me, then make love, wanna dress up, bend me over and stretch me. Be my freak, I might let you, but you just can't kiss and tell. Won't have nobody come ring my bell, cause if they do, that's a major fail. Like damn, okay. You would love to undress me, then make love, wanna dress up, bend me over and stretch me. Be my freak, I might let you, but you just can't kiss and tell. Won't have nobody come ring my bell, cause if they do, that's a major fail. Like damn. Like this, yeah. You would love to undress me, then make love, wanna dress up, me, bend me over and stretch me. Be my freak, I might let you, but you just can't kiss and tell. I don't have nobody come ring my bell. Cause if they do, that's a major fail. Like hell. Okay, I'm the best thing since sliced bread. He said, damn girl, you're so righteous. With your pretty face and your nice legs. You stay in the gym and I might just put it in my hand like this. I'm like, you're my type, yeah. So please just tell me what your price is. Nah, I'm not for sale. Got everybody on it cause I'm hot as hell. Like, I'm a gazelle. I can do the damn thing all by myself. Hey, I'm right here and y'all can tell. There's not any way I can fail. If I'm drinking dark, if I'm popping pills. Hey, no worries cause I excel. Like, yeah, already know who you fucking with. Yeah, you already know who you fucking with. Okay, you already know who you fucking with. Yeah, you already know who you fucking with. Hey, poppin' downers. Yeah, poppin' downers. Yeah, poppin' downers. Cause I pop some up, but it's time to take this edge off. Balance out and then set it off. We here now, so get involved. And we live it up until we dead and gone. I guess it was gon' suck me in, but I made it out and it's an ugly win. I guess if I just absorb my sins, but I get the feeling and I fall again. I guess if I could figure out for it take its toll, I mean a big amount. Goddamn, I get in this house, I'm rolling hard, I must be tripping now. Goddamn, and if I don't die today, I'ma make it down, I'll find my way. I'm so exhausted when I'm trying to say that I'm tired as fuck, that's all I could take, yeah.
From your TFO, and she's so, I said so. Baby, don't you know I can sing, rap, dance in just one show? Cause I'm Gango, Mr. Sophisticator. As far as I know, ain't nobody greater. From beginning to end and to beginning, I never lose because I'm all about winning. But if I was to lose, I wouldn't be upset. Cause I'm not a gambler, I don't bet. I don't be in no casino. And baby, like an Izzo, the is the grizzly, kiss and gizzo. I thought you'd be impressed and give me devious rap. I thought I had a gun inside my sinister trap. I thought it'd be a piece of cake, but it was nothing like that. I guess that's what I give a think, it ain't that right black. I thought I had it in the palm of my hand, but man, oh man, if I was grand, I'd bang Roxanne. Roxanne, Roxanne, can't you understand? Roxanne, Roxanne, I wanna be your man. Yo, Kango, I don't think that you're dense, but you went about the matter with no experience. You should know, she doesn't need a guy like you, she needs a guy like me, with a high IQ. And she'll take to my rap, cause my rap's the best. The educated rapper MD will never fess. So when I met her, I wasted no time, but stuck up Roxanne, baby don't mind. She thought my name was Larry, I told her it was Gary. She said she didn't like it, so she chose to call me Barry. She said she loved to marry, my baby she would carry. And if we had a baby, we'd name the baby Harry. Her mother name is Mary, which is really quite contrary. Her face is very hairy, and you can say it's scary. She lives in Miami, our father's a fairy. His wife's a secretary, and son's a military. Back in January, or was it February? But every time I say this rhyme, it makes you kinda weary. It's only customary to give this commentary. You never find a rhyme like this in any dictionary. But do you know, after all that, all I received was a pat on my back. That's what you get. It happened to me. Ain't that right, Mix Master ICE?
Roxanne, Roxanne. Roxanne, Roxanne.
You thought you had a rope, you thought you was Cupid. But EMD, yo, rap was plain stupid. I know you're educated, but what will you learn? Not all girls want to be involved with bookworms. You gotta be strong to which you can't resist. So educated rapper, bust this. Since she's a new girl around the block, I had to let her know I was the debonair doctor. She said, you call yourself a doctor? I said, this is true. She said, explain to me really what doctors must do. I said, this is very cool cause I don't say this everything. It's a major medical field the doctor must play. Dermatology is treatment of the skin. In fact, then you see me over and over again. There's anesthesiology, ophthalmology, internal medicine and plastic surgery, orthopedic surgery and pathology. A disease caused by the change of the body. She said, ooh, that's very unique. Gave me her number and kissed me on the cheek. She said she had to go, but she'd be back by 8. Told me call at 9 to arrange the date.
Did you take it to the beach?
That's what we planned, but she stood me up. Roxanne, Roxanne.
Roxanne, Roxanne.
I wanna be your man.
Roxanne, Roxanne.
And here's our game plan.
Well, the concept